The other side of that truck. Norwich Police Department, for some reasons, people keep calling them for welfare checks, despite them proving time and time again they're not fit nor qualified. Oh, is he gonna leave? We know they love harassing the homeless. We know that. You good, bud? You leaving you alone? Somebody called on you. Did they ever mess with you? Recently? Who? When's that? What's his name?
Lofty.
How do you spell it?
I don't know if it's Lofty or Lofty. It's like Lofty.
He stops and fucks with you?
I'm hardly ever here, but no, he saw me all over this, like, even this morning, like, he trespassed me from my sleeping spot.
Where? In there?
Parking garage.
I'm gonna look into him.
Dude, yeah, well, like,
This town hates homeless. They hate anybody that panhandles.
He's the only, that guy I'm talking about, he's the only one that gets me problems, and he was, like, lying to other cops. He's saying I was banging on the window and screaming and shit.
When did he say that?
This morning.
He said you were doing that this morning?
That was the goal when I had my run-in with him this morning, yeah.
It's all on camera. You know what I mean? Why is he lying?
It's like, I don't do that kind of shit. Like,
every time I see you, you're peaceful and you're quiet, dude.
Yeah,
I've never seen you cause a scene anywhere.
Like, I have a drug issue, but it's like, I don't...
That's none of their concern. What do you do? You're not hurting anybody else.
I don't do it out in the open.
Whatever, dude.
You know,
everybody's got their problems. Half of them do steroids. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
or
they're alcoholics.
But no, like 99% of them are chill with me, and they like treat me like humans.
Good, as they should.
It's just a couple of them that like really fucking.
If they do, let me know when you see me walking around, because I'll pull their cameras, dude.
He tells me
like especially the ones that drive these all black cars. You got to watch out for them. Who drives around in a blacked out car pretending to help people? They're just trying to get money.
Always tells me, oh, I thought I told you to leave this fucking city.
That's what he said today?
Tells me every time he sees me, bro.
I'm going to find out who he is. I'm going to start telling him to leave the goddamn city.
I don't know if it's Lofty or Lofty. I don't know.
There's only one with that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'll find out. All right, found it. You need anything?
Please.
Take those.
No,
take it. There's only a couple in there. Take them. Keep your head up, bud. Well, it was nothing too exciting. It was a welfare check I heard called in on him. And I was right down at the Dominican restaurant right there getting a drink and a potato ball. And I was like, I'm going to go check on it. And he's actually said that they don't really mess with him much, but he's the one. I saw him down here before they put that nonsense ordinance in effect, and the cop was telling him he was gonna give him a ticket and take him to jail if he didn't. There was a Dollar General cart right there, and when I talked to him after, he said that he finds carts throughout all the town all the time, and he said he grabs them and he brings them back. He said he was bringing that one back when he stopped to do his thing, so I ended up taking it back for him, because the cop was literally going to give him a ticket. So I said, keep doing your thing, whatever you're doing, and I'll bring it back for you. I'm going that way. And Norwich, Connecticut hates homeless. They hate the poor. They hate low income. But they turn around and they refuse to do absolutely anything to help any of these people or help them get back on their feet, shelters, anything. They won't do that, but the mayor he'll backdoor the whole community because he knows he's done in November, and he'll go past or buy property for almost $1 million for a new police department that isn't voted on, that has gotten shot down twice. And even though it's repeatedly been shot down, he knew it wasn't going to get passed, or he had a good feeling it wasn't going to get passed, so he decided to go buy this property behind everybody's back. And then they don't want to produce any of the records. I've gotten none of the records pertaining to that through the Freedom of Information Act or our state laws on public records. So I'm glad they left him alone, though. Like, leave the dude alone. He's not doing... I've never seen a dude cause a scene, be loud. do anything other than stand there with a sign. So it is what it is. People should be more concerned about themselves instead of other people, because they didn't just decide to go mess with them this time. Somebody called and told them to. And I don't know why it came over as a welfare check. Why are they sending people who are not trained, not qualified? These cops basically have a McDonald's grade of level of education. They literally get trained for what, a month, maybe 2? And let me tell you, it's not on welfare checks or anything to do with your well-being. That's for sure. It's on weapons and how to beat people up and arrest people. So at least send the qualified people. You know what I mean? No crime was suspected. Why are they sending a cop and not an ambulance or a medic? But, and look at it, there's a cop parked right at the exit to the PD. I don't know what the hell he's doing there. And with him being right there, he's super close to the department. So, and it's funny because the police department and all these people are acting like they need more police because they need crime to go down. They want crime to go down, right? Except they already have way too many police on the force on a daily basis. This is just my opinion, but from what I see, and when I see all these police hiding in the back of all these parking lots and not doing, they'll claim they're doing traffic, but they're not, because you could sit there and watch cars fly by them. And if they were really worried about people speeding in traffic, oh, he just left. But if they were really concerned about that, they would be parked where people could see them. Because writing one person a ticket does absolutely nothing. I don't know anybody who's ever gotten a speeding ticket and been like, wow, I really need to never speed again. People speed still. They just get better at it. Or they just don't care. They're not stopping anything. They're not saving anyone. And they're not preventing anything. They're getting money for their gang, the town, and the police department. It's kind of redundant. And what is one of the most dangerous things for a cop, they say? A traffic stop. So they're going to pull people over for the dumbest things, just like the state trooper that died last year, and they spent millions of dollars on his funeral and made this big circus of his death. Why was he pulling somebody over on this? What was it, 395 or I-80, one of the main highways in the state, for them not having a seatbelt on? A full-grown adult, I think, is able to decide if they need a seatbelt or not. But I guess the state needs to regulate that too. And they do. But, and then the cop died and it's everybody else's fault, but it's not the cop's fault. No, they're idiots. If you need to stop somebody on the highway, why don't you just get off the next exit? Follow them to the next exit. Or tell them to get off the next exit. Instead, they do what police do and they just think the world revolves around them and everybody else has to change what they're doing for them. And that dude was hit. Pelletier. And he died. And then hundreds of other cops stopped doing their job, right? They all left what they were doing and went and followed around his body for hours, from here to here to here. And guess what? When there was no cops out on the street, crime didn't go up. Nothing happened. You would think if they were out here doing this great job and they were the ones really preventing crime, that crime would rocket when they're not there. But it didn't happen. So I don't know what to believe, but I don't think that they're doing anything except for stealing people. It's a requirement here. You're supposed to wear a seatbelt, but that's not, to me, that's nonsense. You not having your seatbelt on in your car affects who? It doesn't affect me. I could care less if you're wearing your seatbelt. Your seatbelt, if you're above 18 and you're an adult, you can decide if you need a seatbelt or not. If we lived in a free country, you surely would be able to. You think Iraq is pulling people over for not driving with their seatbelt, or Afghanistan? I don't, but America sure does. Every state. So they just milk, whatever they could get. I spent a bunch of money on these idiots books these cops carry around that where they learn their laws from and their field handbooks. That's why our cops are so goddamn stupid. These books they don't teach them anything. They don't show them the right or wrong way to do it. It's literally our statutes. That's all it is. And we know that they can't understand this basic stuff from what we see on a daily basis. So why would these books that don't explain anything, that they look into to see if they're doing something right or wrong, not explain anything? Not actually tell them if they're right or wrong or give them examples. You know what I mean? So it's all a charade. They make it look like they're doing the right thing. They make it look like they know what they're talking about. They make it look like they actually research these things, the laws, civil rights, common sense stuff. And none of it's done. Absolutely none of it. That is not why they want you to wear a seatbelt, chill guy. That's just nonsense. Because guess what? Most people still aren't wearing seatbelts when they crash. That just sounds like a made-up opinion. They want people to wear seatbelts so they can steal your money when you're not. That's why. It's got nothing to do with anything else. If they cared about your safety so much, why are they assaulting you over nothing? Why are they beating people up over nothing? It's not about safety. It's about money. It always comes back to money. It's like, how many cops do you think are on duty now? In Norwich, probably what? 15, 20? And where are they all? They're always just hiding. Hiding. So, I'm glad they left that dude alone. I mean, if I see anything else, we'll go back on. And just remember out here in Norwich, Connecticut, don't call the cops, especially these retards. They don't come to help you. They're not fit, as we've seen, to be doing anything, never mind law enforcement, but even more importantly, welfare checks or anything to do with medical. Because I don't know how people don't realize how little cops are actually trained, how little time is spent preparing them for the field. And then the little tiny bit of time that they get, how much of that time is actually spent preparing them to deal with situations like a medical situation or a situation that just requires common sense. Their brains can't compute it. The video I dropped the other day is from City of Groton. They just harassed an autistic kid last month over a welfare check, broke into his house, no warrant, no anything, no exigent circumstances. There was nothing there. And then after they stood there and harassed him for 20 plus minutes and made fun of him and got their feelings hurt, what'd they do? They chased him down because he went up and asked their name and badge number. And they chased him down. They bullied him off the road. Then he was on an easement. He wasn't on anybody's property. He wasn't doing anything wrong. And they told him he was quote unquote trespassing. These guys don't even know what trespassing is. Breach of peace, interfering. These charges they charge people with on a daily basis are some of the easiest ones we have. And they can't get it. So I have zero faith in them getting any of the more complex ones. And then after they did that, we went to the town hall and we found out they're flying a gang flag, a blue line gang flag. And I don't know where you guys are from if they do that, but that's not done here in Connecticut. Not like that. When they tried to fly it at that state trooper's funeral that died last year, they said they couldn't because the town hall wouldn't do it because it's a gang flag and it represents racism. Which I think to pretty much a majority of the population, that's what it represents. It's a high number, unless it's a blue line gangbanger, their family, or somebody that blows them. I don't think anybody else thinks that that's just a flag they support. If you have to change, they got their job, right? They love America. And they They're going to stand up for America, right? But then they need to take our flag and ruin it. They need their own flag. They can't even work under our flag. They need their own. No, it's a gang flag. That's the only way to look at it. And then they went to this dude's house at whatever time it was, because somebody called 911. It wasn't even, nobody even talked to him. It was a hang-up. So there was no crime. There was no suspicious activity or suspicion of a crime. Exigent circumstances, there was nothing. And they got to the house and the guy told them, nobody needs anything. We're good. Get off my property. And you know what they did? He shouldn't have opened his door, because as soon as he did, they stuck their foot in his door. And, I mean, if this was a free country like they claim, you'd be able to defend your property, slam your door, or get this intruder off your property. But you can't, because if you do that, they're going to turn around and jump you, and they're going to charge you, and then the court never sides with you, like, especially in a situation like that. I don't even know how the kid got the charges dismissed as fast as he did, because all the charges were already dismissed. Maybe Groton Court has a little bit better judges than the rest of the state. I'm not sure. But from every court I've seen, ain't no judge doing that. We see people every day in court that were either set up, that were the cops lied to arrest them, or just blatantly violated their civil rights. And what do these judges do? Absolutely nothing. Norwich Court found me guilty of not using a crosswalk. They didn't even give me a chance to present a defense in court. They literally let me question the cop and then found me guilty, despite our state laws clearly outlining that I didn't have to use the crosswalk. So, it's a setup. It's all a setup. I mean, maybe not every case. I think some people probably get what they should, but more times than not, the judges are backing their little butt buddies that are out here on the street creating these situations. They all make money off of it. The more people that go through court, the better it is. The longer these cases take, the better it is for them, because then they can turn around and claim, we need more money, we need more time, we need more everything. And yet, these cases all could be resolved, most of them, one court case, if not more. State of Connecticut right now, I have to go on Tuesday for a hearing. They had 120 days to conduct this hearing. The state law says it, right? Well, they didn't, and now it's been almost 18 months, and they want to do it. So I brought it up to my lawyer, the great guy, Matthew Olkin, and I said, what if the law says they had 120 days to conduct this hearing? Oh, I can't bring that up. If I bring that up, that just means they're going to hold it sooner. And I'm like, that doesn't even make any sense, because all the research I've done says most of the times in these instances, these cases, the charges have to be dismissed because witnesses disappear, evidence disappear, you don't have a timely fashion. It's a violation of due process. And yet he never even addressed the court with it. He's going to subpoena witnesses, right? Nobody's heard from him. Friday, one business day before court, he called my witnesses and said that it's not even a real subpoena. He said he was going to subpoena them. I'm sure if he subpoenaed them, they would get official paperwork and say that they're actually being subpoenaed. All he did was call them and say their testimony would be helpful if they could make it to court. That's not a subpoena. It's not. So, it's just a basic, it's like basic stupidity. And you better not even get charged with a crime. Even if you didn't do it, you better not get charged, because if you do, they're going to try and charge you for it in court. But they can blatantly violate our laws. It says they can go past the 120 days with good cause. They don't have good cause. The whole time I've been telling them I'm not going to take a deal. I don't want their deal. I've already tried to work with them, and what did they do? They literally just set me up and put me in a worse spot than I was before. So I will absolutely not be taking a deal. So I don't see what their good cause could be for just continuously asking me every single time if I'm going to take a deal. But that's about it. I'm out here. I'm not going to keep everybody on. And if there's anything else, I will come back on. I've been clean. This September will be 6 years I've been clean. That's why I don't judge anybody. I don't care if you're a drug addict. I don't care if you're a drunk. I'm not going to treat you any differently. But you know who does? The state of Connecticut. The police. Look at Willimantic. One of the worst places you could be. I would say even worse, 10 times worse than Willimantic, or worse than Norwich, is Willimantic. Because they literally do whatever they want. Look at Giller. Giller's literally dropping dudes' pants during the middle of the day on the sidewalk in public and feeling them up in front of everybody with no probable cause, no reasonable suspicion, no anything other than what he made up in his head. And he gets away with it. And it's not like, oh, the department doesn't know. They know. They gave me the videos. I requested them. So somebody had to have went through. Somebody had to have seen it. And you know what they did? Absolutely nothing. It's definitely not safe to audit. They do whatever they want. Literally, whatever they want. So, but somebody's got to do it. Ain't nobody else doing it out in Connecticut. The very few people that had done it, it seems like do it for a little bit and then disappear. And I could see why. Look at what they do to everybody. I put out a clip the other day. I haven't released any of it yet. Honestly, just because I think if I do, the court will just charge me and say that I'm trying to sway people or whatever, since the case is open. But I didn't get this information through court. I got it through the Freedom of Information Act like anybody else could have. And so I can share it. I just haven't because I don't want to deal with these people. But the cop in New Britain, the very first time I got arrested in New Britain, the cop came up to me and asked me if I needed anything, and I said, no, I'm good. And he let me know. He said, you know, you can't pass this gate right here, which was very clear. There was a sign right there. And I said, no, I'm good. I don't need anything. Yeah, I know not to pass the gate. And he goes, well, he starts whining about having a really bad day. And I even said, sorry. I said, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know. And he walked away. Well, he then went and told the female officers who were approaching me that he asked me for my name. I refused to give my name. He asked me to leave. I wouldn't leave. I was being a dick. All this shit that did not happen. 100% fabricated. And then came back when they were there and wanted to act like a little child, a whiny little bitch. And then they arrested me, claiming I couldn't be there when I could be. I've been back 100 times since then, and guess what? Absolutely nothing's happened. I got a letter from the chief of police a week after it all happened stating that what I was doing was legal, and that he was opening up an investigation into all the officers, which he then retired. And he was there. I didn't know this till after the fact, but he was there after I got arrested. When I was in the car, you can hear them talking to the chief. So why didn't he do something then if he knew? But he then retired, and then they got this clown Marino as the chief. And despite the quote-unquote victims completely changing their statements from what they gave the department, because these women claim they tried to talk to me and I wouldn't answer. Then they claimed I followed them to their car and they were uncomfortable, which is all 100% false. Not just false, provably false. It's all on camera. And the lady claiming that she was so scared was standing behind me taking pictures when I didn't even know she was there. I never even moved my camera when they walked by. I didn't even pan with them. So it was completely fabricated. Not just that, the prosecutor, Mary Rose Palmise, who's just, I know prosecutors have to go to school, but I don't understand how she's still so goddamn dumb. She allowed these people to come in and change their whole statement, never even addressed it. My lawyer, I had a paid lawyer at the time, who was getting paid very good money to be there. He wouldn't even address it. When the officers were up on the stand lying, this was during a suppression hearing. It wasn't during trial. So, but even when They were lying. I'm telling them they're lying. And it's not hearsay. I can prove it. He never addressed it. Never submitted any evidence to court that we had. They were setting their car alarms off to make it look like I was touching cars, except the car alarms that were going off were clearly 30, 40 feet away from me. And they were people's personal cars. I wasn't looking at personal cars. And clearly just a setup. And yet, the judge even ruled. She ruled we lost the suppression hearing. We were trying to suppress the Terry stop, even though it wasn't even a Terry stop. Still, even though the judge ruled that they can use it in court, it still wasn't a Terry stop. If Peachy and Borden, Barcelou, Farrell, if these idiots showed up on scene and actually did what they were supposed to do, investigated, and this and that, then they'd have a reason. They thought I was detained the whole time I was there. They said, or the minute they walked up, they thought I was detained. That's what the cops told the court. He was detained the whole time. The judge said, no, that's not how it works. And she's like, no, he was detained the whole time. And then the judge ruled, because what they're trying to say is that I quote unquote interfered only when I didn't give them my name during a Terry stop, which I don't have to give you my name here, there, or over there. We have 0 statutes for that. I'm not impeding your investigation. I'm not impeding or interfering with your investigation because I told you what you had to do. All you had to do was go check the cameras and you could see that whatever was said was 100% lie and that I never trespassed. And the day they arrested me, the cars weren't the issue. They only brought that up in court because the issue, what they arrested me, you even hear them talk about it over and over, is that I was trespassing and I couldn't be there. Even though it's public property, it has a big sign on the front of the building, one of the blue public signs. So, yeah, they did have restricted areas. I never entered their restricted area. Not once, not here nor there. Never. They could have checked. They actually were checking the cameras when Farrell showed up and arrested me. All because Peachy said I was interfering. The judge started the detainment at the point I went to walk away, which I'm lucky I did that, because if I didn't, they would just say I wasn't detained at all. But nobody had told me to leave. Nobody told me I couldn't leave. So I told them I was going to continue conducting my business and get out of there. And Borden, who was a little bit smarter than Peachy, said, all right, we'll walk with you. And I feel like, if anything, that was the appropriate steps to take. But instead, Peachy said, no, you're detained. You got to stay here. So that's when they started the detainment. But get this, even if we went by their little made-up rules that you have to ID during a Terry stop, they never asked me my name when the Terry stop started. And the lawyer also said, because he thought that's how the judge was going to rule the detention. And he also said if that's how it went down, the moment the judge declares that I was detained at this point, he was going to demand a dismissal. Well, the judge did exactly that. And yet, he didn't do that. He didn't do it at all. And then we lost the suppression hearing and we went in the next time. They wanted me to take 6 months of probation, and my lawyer at the time was pushing for it hard. He was like, just take it, we'll appeal it, you're going to win on appeal. I didn't want to do that. I feel like, and this is just how I feel, but I feel like that pretty much lets these lying pigs off. Call them, even if we lose and have to appeal it, call them in and make them lie on the stand, or tell the truth and prove that they lied in their statement. But we don't just let them off and go after them later. So I showed up for court that day. My lawyer was waiting for me outside. And he's like, all right, we're done. And that was in between when I crashed my car. I literally paid $100 to Uber to court because New Britain's over an hour from me. And he tells me, oh, yeah, we're done for today. And I'm like, what do you mean we're done for today? And he goes, well, the judge doesn't want this going to the appellate court. So The prosecution asked for 30 days to go talk to the victims and see if they can come up with something new, which I kind of thought was BS. Why are they talking to them with nobody else there or us present? But not just that, why are we giving them time? They wouldn't give me time. They denied me a speedy trial. They denied me a speedy trial. They said I don't have that right. My charges don't qualify. But then they couldn't tell me why. I never wanted to bring this lawyer on. The lawyer was a backup option. The day we were going to trial, like setting trial, I submitted, court wanted the letter from the chief of police stating that I wasn't doing anything wrong, it was legal, and he was opening up an investigation into the officers. So I submitted that to court. Mary Rose Palmise, the dumb prosecutor, got that before we went back up in front of the judge, so she read it for 5 or 10 minutes. And then we go back up in front of the judge, and she claims, that's not what we're talking about. How I'd never been to New Britain a day in my life before I got arrested. So what are you talking about? Because that's the only thing you could be talking about. So we were going to move forward with trial. They asked me if I was representing myself or if I had a lawyer. I said, for now, I will be representing myself because I didn't have all this money to go blow on a lawyer. I had a friend who had lawyers on his stuff, and he said, if you need help, I can get somebody to go over there and help you. So I told court, if it gets out of hand, I have somebody I could bring on if the time comes. Well, I really think that they thought I was just lying about it, because she goes, the judge, what's his name? And honestly, I didn't know his name off the top of my head. I knew my friend's name. I didn't know the lawyer's exact name. There's like 8 lawyers working on the case, his stuff. So she goes, well, go out in the hallway and call him and get his name. And I'm like, I don't even have my phone because your great marshals violate my rights every time I come to court. And she goes, oh, so you're telling me you're the only one in here that can't have your phone? She goes, everybody in here with a phone, stand up. And everybody in the court stood up. And a marshal had to go tell her, oh, no, he actually can't. So I had to walk all the way back to my car, call Connecticut Transparency, get the lawyer's name, go back, and they gave me 2 days. 2 days to come back. It was a Wednesday. They said, be back Friday with your lawyer. I said, I don't want to bring him on. What do you mean? And they said, no, you're going to bring him in. So they forced me to have him, and he was on for almost a year. And I believe, and it's not even what I believe, it's what the facts show it. He did not really do anything to benefit me. He didn't. He kind of hurt me. But after that, we went back after the 30 days, right? We gave them 30 days. We go back, and he then gives them 60 days to go try and find something else. So now we've given them 3 months when they wouldn't even give me a month continuance to come back. They gave me 2 days. So, and in my opinion, we should be in there demanding a dismissal. The judge does not want this going to the appellate court. There's a reason, because there is nothing there. The judge saw the video. She saw my video. That's all she saw. She didn't see the body camera. She didn't see anything else. She just saw the beginning of the video till the detention. My bad. I didn't even know it was still. I don't know what happened. But they're just corrupt, dude. Maybe not to everybody, but a big problem here is that they don't. When the prosecutors do this stuff, they're protected. They have immunity. They have more immunity than cops. So a prosecutor can lie. They can refuse to follow the court's orders, precedent. They refuse to do whatever they want. And then when they ruin your life, there's no recourse at all. Like none. But I'm going to go check out the falls up here, the river, see what's going on. If I see anything else, I'll jump back on. I just wanted to catch that. We know how Norwich police are in welfare checks. So I hope everybody's enjoying their weekend. Stay safe. If anybody needs anything, they know how to get a hold of me. And I'll see you guys on the next one.